Okay guys, we are getting ever closer to the launch of the brand new Space Wolves, and I know a lot of you out there are as excited as I am to get stuck in to these amazing miniatures. I am still waiting for my box set to arrive, so I thought to myself, what could I do before the box set is in my hand to help me get a kind of edge up or a step up on getting the thing complete. What I decided to do is something I've never really done before, and I did some nice bases for them. So I 3D printed some awesome base toppers from Grey Tide Studios. Got them all printed out, stuck to their bases, and in this video I'm going to paint them all up and get them all finished off. So I am ready to paint up the miniatures and plonk them onto these awesome scenic bases when I get them. So hopefully you guys are excited to see the most epic Space Wolf bases you've ever seen. Let's get into it. I have wanted to do a project like this for quite some time, but I always think about it after I've already started the force, which means that portions of the models are already set and based and all done, and it's kind of hard to retrospectively go back and sort that out. Well, that is not the case with my new Space Wolf project, because obviously I'm waiting patiently for the box set to arrive, which has given me some time to get these bases ready. These are the base toppers from the Primal Hounds collection from Grey Tide Studios. I'll leave all the information linked down below if you're interested in getting these bases yourselves. They're down there. There's no affiliate link. There's no kickback. There's nothing like that. I just genuinely think they're really cool base toppers that are going to work really well for so many different people's Space Wolf armies. So first thing I did was find out and print off the toppers that I needed. So for the Space Wolf box set itself, you need 20 32mm bases, then you need 5 40mm, i.e. Terminator bases, and then you need 3 of the 60 by 30 the small oval bases, these guys here. For the wolves, for the, not the Grey Hunters, the Wolfguard guys, they have the wolves with each of them. They're like companion wolves, so I got some of those bases. Grey Tide Studio Collection doesn't actually have the bases in this size, but they do have an oval base, so I just changed the parameters down and shrunk it down to the right size, which gave me this, and it worked perfectly. After I have filed down any of the existing supports and got rid of anything like that so they would sit flush, I simply super glued them to the top of the bases, making sure to add lots of pressure, make sure there's no gaps between any of them, making it like really kind of look as tidy as possible. One of the things that I did is after 3D printing these pieces, I obviously washed them, but I did not cure them, which means the bases themselves are slightly more malleable than they would be if they had already been cured. This means that when I go to the process of gluing them to the bases, there's a little bit of a give and a little bit of bend for me to push them super flat against the bases. And then after they are fully kind of done, every base topper is glued to a base, I can then cure the whole thing as one big batch, which will then of course make the bases themselves rock solid and be ready to begin painting. But as you can see, they're very cool. There's a huge variety of bases. There's 12 different variants for the 32s. There's 6 different variants for the 40s and so on and so forth. So across your entire army, people will not going to see like duplicate bases over and over and over again. It should be a fairly cool project. Here they all are in their resplendent glory on their little microwave tray as they go into the cure station and get cured. After they're cured, I attach them to these little painting handles. I get asked in every video where the hell these painting handles are from. They are Frontier Wargaming. They are cheap as chips. They are just like FDM cutted, not FDM, like laser cut handles. You get them in sets of 5 with a little tray to hold them all. They're super handy, super good for organizing projects. Like I said, Frontier Wargaming if you want to get some for yourself. After that, I gave all the models a good solid spray. I used Raven Black, because it's not quite black, it's a little bit off black, which I think is a beautiful place to start from, like shale stone kind of color. And I just made sure not to miss any bits and stuff like that, so I gave it quite a solid coat. After the fact, I then dry brushed all the base toppers with Mechanicus Standard Grey, which is once again a really dark grey, but I'm not even pushing it too heavy. I don't want to get really solid coverage on this. I want it to look like old, kind of worn Nordic stone, something you'd find out in the fjords. So slate and stuff like that and really dark grey rocks, I think, is what you're going to encounter in those places. At least in my head. I've watched Vikings. So I'm going to go with that idea. So like I said, Mechanicus Standard Grey, I've used a large flat dry brush and I'm going to very quickly dry brush up the entire thing. And as you can see, because I used the Raven Black, there's this really nice color underneath it, which means when you dry brush it with the first stage of grey, it already looks kind of cool. Very simple technique, but it works. After that, we are going to jump up to Dawnstone and we're going to be doing exactly the same thing again, but even lighter. We're just trying to catch the sharp edges, the little standout stones and rocks. and stuff like that with it. We're being quite careful as we dry brush around. We don't leave any streaks behind. We don't kind of overload this base with Dawnstone. That would be too bright and it would kind of pull your attention away from the kind of models on top. As you can see, the models are so detailed that it is grabbing that dry brush so well. Now, if you are not a person that 3D prints yourself, please don't be discouraged by these kinds of projects. All companies like Great Tide Studios will have an option for purchasing physical products. You can go onto their website and just order up sets of these bases yourself and you'll be totally fine. In fact, I'm going to pause the video now. I'm going to go away, find out how much it would cost you to get a set of bases to do your Space Wolf box, and then I'm going to come back and tell you. So, one second. Okay, it turns out finding out the exact price is a little bit more complicated than that because there's so many resellers from so many different countries and I don't know where you guys are and how that's going to work, but roughly it's working out at about €30 for all the base toppers you need for the entire box set, which I think that's pretty reasonable for some fairly nice bases. Okay, with those two grays dry brushed on, we're going to jump to Retributor Armor Gold, and then we're going to pick out some of the kind of more Celtic or Nordic designs in this rock, and we're going to quickly base coat those in gold. I think these guys are stomping across old runes on Fenris and stuff like that, as this is a chapter monastery or legion monastery. I'm sure most of the detail on this is quite ornate. So there would be kind of gold filigree and stuff like that in even the ruins left behind. So I think adding in a bit of gold trim to the base is not going to look weird. It's not going to be out of place. I think it's just got a nice little splash of color. There's going to be a couple of examples in this video where I'm trying to add in a splash of color and pull away from just like a flat gray base. And the gold is definitely one of those ways that this is going to help. But we are not going to leave it flat gold. As you can see, these are old crumbled ruins. So leaving pristine gold behind is going to look kind of strange. And I've got a couple of ideas as what we can do for that. With all the gold in place, it's now time to move over to the silver. Some of the bases have like rebar coming through it or pipes sticking out the side. Or in the case of this being the most complicated one for the metallics, it has an open panel. And there's some pipework and ducting and stuff that you can see inside of it. So obviously, even though this looks like kind of old flagstone from an old, like a castle almost, it's obviously quite like technologically advanced, which would be suitable for Space Wolf outposts and stuff like that around the galaxy. Nilic oxide was then introduced to add a little bit of weathering and patina to all of the gold. And as you're going to see here, I'm going to move fairly quickly. I'm not really thinking about where the oxidization is going to go. I just load up my brush and I stab it roughly at the gold. Like I said, you could spend a huge amount of time exactly picking out where it's going to go and how that's going to work. I don't think you need to do that. We're going to be spending a little bit more time than I would have liked on the next stage, but it's definitely going to be worth it. So I think it's okay to just kind of rush through this bit and make it work. Like I said, I definitely think it's adding that kind of aged weatheredness to the gold, and I think it's working really well. Okay, this next step, I think, changes the whole dynamic of it, and this is the dirty down moss. You should get this, watch a bunch of videos on how it works, and just be blown away by the result. So one of the key things you have to do is shake the ever-living hell out of it. It all likes to settle in the bottom of the jar and gets really solid. You have to get in there and stir it around, make sure those like little activation balls start to move around, shake that bejeebus out of it until you get this really nice consistency. And then what I'm going to do with this is add all of that agedness to the flagstone. So right now it is just flat gray, and I don't like that. I want it to stand out more. I wanted to have that kind of age to it. I did look up a bunch of kind of images as to whether snow would work with moss. Apparently they go really well together, which is really cool. There's a bit of oxidized flesh or like a chip of paint stuck to my brush here, which is really annoying me for this scene. But yeah, as you can see, what I'm doing is carefully painting this in between all of the flagstones, any of the cracks, anywhere where moisture would build up, moss would grow, and it would obviously just going to break apart all that gray and add a pop of life to these bases. If these weren't Space Wolves and if I wasn't adding snow, this would probably be the last thing I would do to the bases, and I think it would look incredible. I'm in fact tempted to do other projects using exactly the same steps that I have done in this video, except I don't need to add the snow at the end because they're not Space Wolves, because I swear after this goes on, I think the bases look incredible and I just want to keep doing them on other projects. But as you can see, feeding into all the nooks and crannies, leaving all the flagstones bright grey. But anywhere where you're not really sure what color it's supposed to be, you can of course use the Dirty Down. The Dirty Down has rust and patina as well. They're all really good. It's a great product from a great company, and a lot of people swear by it for their hobby projects these days. I'm leaving in most of the footage of me doing this base just to show you. like how long it takes and kind of how quick the transformation can be. So here's the 3 oval bases after I've added the dirty down moss, and I think you can agree that these bases now look absolutely awesome. Like, I'm so pleased with how they look, and I'm just going to continue on that process across all the different bases that exist. This is going to take maybe 20 minutes for me to do the entire collection of bases that I'm working on, because I am going to take my time. I don't want to hit the goal. I don't want to kind of go too much on the flat areas. It's all about those nooks and crannies and cracked stone and gouges and all those kind of bits getting fed in with that. Now, we did have a slight mistake at the very end, just a little mistake. And it does have to do with the moss, and it does have to do with the snow, and those two interacting with each other. Because after this, I did use the AK Interactive Snow to put a little bit of snow on it. Now, I do actually plan on putting more snow on, but I'm not going to do it until I've glued the models to it. I think that makes sense. I think that's fair, but I did want to add some snow to give you an idea of what I was going for at the end of the bases. But the dirty down moss stuff can reactivate with water. So after I put the snow on, while that was drying, it unfortunately reactivated the snow, and it kind of absorbed some of the green, and it kind of made it look like pee in the snow. I'm not gonna lie. It's a little bit odd. You'll see at the very end what I mean, but I think that's okay. Like I said, when I've got the box set, I painted the models, I glued them on. I'm gonna add a little bit more snow around their feet and cover up any of those weird mistakes that happen, and we should be okay. Here's the entire collection done up to that stage, including all the rims blacked out. And as a collection of bases, I'm pretty pleased so far. If you guys are enjoying this video, you think you're learning a lot, think you might want to copy along, make sure you do those 3 things that cost you absolutely nothing, but they make a huge difference to the channel, which is give this video a like, ask me any questions if you have them in the comments below, and make sure you're subscribed. If you want to help support the channel even further, there's things like a Patreon campaign, and of course becoming a channel member over on YouTube. There's a bunch of extra benefits you get for being a member of either of those two, i.e. extra video every single week and access to a private Discord server. So they're fun, easy, and accessible ways to further your hobby goals. Bunch of affiliate links down below as well if you want to get your hobby products at a cheaper price and also get a little bit of kickback to the store or to the channel. Like I said, Element Games and My Hobby Place linked down below as well. Okay, here I am stabbing some textured snow effect into the bases, and as you can see, as I'm applying it, looks really good. It's doing exactly what I wanted to do. It's looking like kind of old runic snowy bases. I didn't want to go overboard because I really like the result that we got from the bases already. But when we jump to the entire collection of bases, all done and all having the snow added to them, you can see where the snow has reactivated in with the moss, and there's a couple of areas which are a little bit yellow. It's okay though. I still think the results are fantastic, and like I said, after I glue the Space Marines to the bases, I'm going to go over with a little bit more snow, tidy up those areas, and finish off these bases. We talked about a lot of products in this video. None of them are affiliated. I don't have any kickbacks or anything with Grey Tide or Station Forge or any of those kind of bits and pieces. So if you want to check them out for yourself, like I said, they're all linked down below. Check them out for yourself.